President Nixon, of all the presidents I've worked with, was by far the most skilled and interested in foreign policy. And so he brought genuine interest to these materials, but also he recognized the tremendous scope and challenge of this trip and the importance that it'd be a good outcome. And so I was extremely impressed with how hard he worked and the fact that he literally looked at every page of the massive 6 briefing books that we assembled. And the fact that as we traveled toward China on Air Force One, he kept asking us for additional information in the briefing books. Well, physically, he was already frail in the first meeting and got more so in the subsequent meetings that we had. So you could see a tremendous effort on his part to hold the meeting despite his afflictions. But he exuded great power nevertheless. You could tell he was a forceful leader just by his atmosphere. And rather than using elegant, long phrases, he would use analogies, metaphors, similes, brief brushstroke comments that you had to sometimes interpret or decipher. But we realized that he was outlining in broad but brief brushstrokes the strategic guidelines for Chinese policy, which then Premier Zhou Enlai could elaborate in greater detail, having the basic justification and structure for the Chinese approach. Dr. Kissinger has said that he is the most impressive international leader he's ever met. And that is true for me as well. First, he was extremely knowledgeable both on a strategic level and on a historic level and on a philosophic level, as well as on tactical issues. So he had tremendous command both of Chinese national interest, the strategic situation in the world, and specific issues. And he did all this without briefing books. In fact, Dr. Kissinger had big briefing books, but for reasons of saving face and ego, he would try to put them aside because Zhou Enlai didn't use any. Secondly, he was a firm defender of Chinese national interests, but he was willing to listen to the other side and to try to understand the national interests of our side and do so respectfully, although firmly. Thirdly, rather than haggling over details and inflating positions, Zhou Enlai would sort of establish clear goals and bottom lines for the Chinese side that we could try to discuss with him together with our own goals and bottom lines.